You know, if there's nothing else I've learned in bumbling and farting my way through these videos that you're watching now, it's that it's not as easy as it looks. You have to have your facts in order. You have to present them in a somewhat listenable way, all while watching yourself, which is really messing with me. Hopefully I'll get better at that as we go along. We'll get back to this. Jordan B. Peterson, a clinical psychologist, an author, and a social and media commentator. He's written 3 books, Maps of Meaning, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, and Beyond Order. He was long a professor at the University of Toronto, and he first got acclaim not for, as alleged, not referring to people by their preferred pronouns. He had no problem doing that. What he had a problem with was the government legislating that he do so, making it law of what verbiage he used. And not just him, everybody in academia. If you haven't witnessed his interview by Kathy Newman, it's available here on YouTube. You should do so for several reasons. Number one, he keeps his cool in what becomes a very contentious and somewhat heated presentation. And that could apply to all of us. How to keep your cool and lay out the facts as these things unfold. I have read most of one of his books, the 12 Rules for Life book. It wasn't mine. I kind of ran out of time. And it was kind of hit or miss. I got to be in the mood for that kind of heavy brain stuff. But initially, and I think it was his first rule in the book, I'm going off memory here. I think it was, the essence of it was clean up your room. Meaning, before you go out and tackle all the world's problems and try to make the earth a better place to live for everyone, you should have your ducks in a row. Make your bed. This is his contention. Bring order to your own life. Get your ducks in a row before you go out and start criticizing others. And I could learn a great deal from this for sure, as well as most of us. Now, I don't agree with everything Mr. Peterson says, nor should I. And that's the thing to remember, I think, for all of us. You don't have to agree point by point by point with everything someone says. If you do, it's probably a good indication that something isn't right. The biggest problem with this is that sooner or later, putting your faith in people, they're going to let you down at some point on some topic somewhere. His views, especially on things like traditional marriage, I think are a bit antiquated. This is just my opinion on it. They may have been true at one time. They don't hold as much weight in our current society. His views on religion, he comes at it from a really, he pulls in the big brains. He likes to quote Carl Jung over and over and over, and religion especially, instead of going to the sources, the Hebrews. Now he is getting better at this, and that's the thing too. When you're putting out material like that, sometimes you get new information comes in, and that changes the dynamic. And he is very flexible and adaptable to change, which is one of the reasons why I like the guy. He's a big brain. And getting back to, like I said in the initial part, this ability to think on your feet and keep going. I cut a lot of this stuff out. I ain't gonna lie about it. You want your facts straight. A guy like me ain't gonna remember this stuff. I edit out all the because nobody wants to hear that crap. Mr. Peterson has the uncanny ability to think on his feet as he goes along. And if you've ever watched one of his lectures, which I highly recommend you do, he doesn't spend a lot of time looking directly at the camera. He's looking off like this, and he uses his hands a lot. A lot of this, like, you know, all this information is packed into one man's skull, and he's pulling and grabbing. You can watch him do this, pulling points of information, and he's got a lot of information at the ready. Can just pull it up, which I find incredibly impressive. The trouble with that is, look at how they came after the man when he started stating facts. He has the data. He has the numbers. I mean, for crying in the mud, the man's a clinical psychologist, or was. He saw patients. He saw this stuff firsthand. So when he can pull out facts like there is no wage gap when you consider, apples to apples, well, that goes against the narrative. We can't have that. Or he starts bringing up data and statistics about a great number of things, in particular, women's role in society, how a lot of them will feel unfulfilled later in life by not having children. See, these things go against the narrative. We can't have that. You're supposed to toe the line. And the line is ever changing. He went through a spell of personal health. I don't know what the right word would be for it, because I'm not Dr. Peterson. But he was taking some pharmaceutical medication, and that went south on him when he tried to eradicate that from his life. And boy, they jumped on that like nobody's business. Oh, look at your great hero now. Look at your great leader. They jumped on that, and that was the thing right there. Let's get him. Let's take him down. And we're seeing it over and over. You see it with guys like Joe Rogan. These people aren't exactly revolutionaries. They're simply stating facts and alternate opinions that go against the mainstream narrative, and that's bad. They'll try to take you down for that. And Dr. Peterson has handled that adroitly, aptly. He's quite adept at taking on all comers from all sides. Now, he made a mint of money in the last several years because there is a yearning. There's a need and an appreciation and a yearning for facts and truth. And that's what the mainstream narrative, it just isn't there. There's a lot of sidetracking going on. There's a lot of misinformation from your mainstream narratives. And we're seeing it now in the health industry. We're seeing it in the political industry. These long-held establishments of where people get their information are time and time again being proven false or unreliable. So a man like Dr. Peterson stating facts and truths, we can't. What about our power? We can't have it. Another thing we're seeing from Dr. Peterson is he does online lectures. A lot of them available here on YouTube for free. Well, then why do I need to go to the local university and sign up and pay for classes when I can get this information for nothing? If you're not familiar with Mr. Peterson or his works, I highly recommend you check out some of his lectures. Like I said, I don't agree with everything he says. I don't have to. There's no law that says that, we all have to be of one accord, but he certainly makes some valid points in presentations, and he can do it on his feet. Where have the great minds gone? What we have now in society is a whole bunch of people that maybe they can talk on their feet as long as that narrative isn't interrupted, as long as there's a host to the show that kind of feeds them, and we all agree but Mr. Peterson doesn't always agree because he has the information. He has the statistics. And so when you don't agree, well, now we have a ruckus on our hands, which is fascinating to watch unfold. Like I said, I highly recommend you look into some of his lectures, his interviews. I think it's a much needed fresh voice in this echo chamber of nonsense. Let me know in the comments if I've left something out or I missed something, or your take on the matter. Highly recommend you check out his work. Hey, I thank you for watching, honestly. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.